Hello, welcome back to another FPL video. I hope everyone is doing fantastically well, but obviously still now in the middle of game week 35, the triple game week. However, today we're going to be taking a look at what is the last 3 game weeks of the season, just discussing those players who are going to be the must-haves, the essentials for the back end of the season. So, I think a lot of people will be looking towards kind of punts, differentials for the last 3 game weeks, kind of game places in the mini leagues, but I'm just going to discuss today the players who you should at least have so you don't completely fall down the ranks in these last 3 game weeks. If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily FPL content. Really pushing for that 1k mark, getting so close. If you don't mind helping me out, I really appreciate it. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video, and let's get straight on into this one. So moving on into the attackers first, and I mean, you see there in the middle Harry Kane. I don't really think I need to discuss Harry Kane much because he's just unbelievable asset so far this season. Great captaincy option for the last 3 game weeks as well. Scored 21 goals, 13 assists, expected goal return of 0.86, and just a cracking option. That's really all that needs to be said about Kane. Then the other 2 players, we've got Bamford and a DCL. They're definitely not differential options. They're definitely highly owned, but depending on kind of your mini leagues, they might be differential. And I think they're very good picks for the back end of the season. And because of their kind of high ownership, I think they're essential in terms of an overall rank. Obviously, it might be different in your mini leagues, but Bamford coming in this season with 15 goals, 7 assists, and an expected goal return of 0.63. He has 3 really good back end of the season fixtures, playing against the likes of Burnley, the likes of West Brom, just all green for his last 3 fixtures. Obviously, did very well against Spurs, picked up a 9-pointer, and I just think Bamford looks like an absolutely cracking option. Probably going to be the best attacking asset behind Kane for the back end or the last 3 games of the season. And then we have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has 16 goals. I think he does actually have some FPL assists in there for winning penalties as well, but currently, kind of statistically, the Premier League are saying that he does not have any assists and he's got an expected goal return of 0.67. And of late, he has actually been picking up the bonus points. One thing I have said about Calvert-Lewin in the past is that when he scores, he doesn't pick up any bonus points. However, he did pick up all 3 bonus points in the game for Everton against West Ham, and playing against Sheffield United and Wolves in the next 2 games. Calvert-Lewin could be considered as a must-have. I've seen a lot of people already bringing him in. He's a great captaincy option for that game week as well. Maybe I think that's a differential captaincy option, but I do think DCL is potentially a must-have for the next 2 game weeks. They do play against City in game week 38, so obviously kind of not a necessity then, but I think DCL looks like a very good option for the next 2 game weeks. Then we move on into the midfield. And firstly, obviously, you're thinking, where the hell is Bruno Fernandes? Well, Fernandes obviously does not play in game week 36, but then in game week 37 and 38, he's actually got decent fixtures. So if you're able to keep a hold of Bruno Fernandes for the game week 37 and 38, that could be great, and he could be essential for those last 2 game weeks, especially in terms of an overall percentage. Again, in that Fulham game, he's going to be captained by pretty much almost everybody, I would think, and therefore he would be essential for that game week. But as he does blank in game 36, he can't be considered as essential for that kind of time span. We do have Salah in there, who has, like Bamford, some unbelievable fixtures towards the back end of the season, playing against West Bromwich Albion in game 36. He's probably the most essential player to this game week. I think a lot of people who own him will be captaining him, and you definitely can see him getting a couple of goals in that game. We also have Jesse Lingard and Heung-min Son. Sonny Boy been on absolute fire so far this season, picking up 17 goals, 10 assists and 0.63. One thing I will also mention about Salah is that he's on 20 goals and he's only 1 goal behind Kane in the Golden Boot race. Both of them are potentially going to be stepping it up for the last 3 games of the season, really gunning for that Golden Boot. In terms of Son, like Kane, he's got some okay fixtures towards the back end of the season. Not necessarily a captaincy option for those games. You could be a captaincy option, just, depending on what you personally would like to do. Obviously, Kane has been slacking a little bit of late, but Sonny Boy's ownership is still very high, and especially in my mini leagues, I think pretty much everyone does own Son. So maybe if you don't own him, want to get in just sort of as cover for the past 3 game week, unless you want to punt on somebody else, I think Son could definitely be considered as essential for the last 3 game weeks. And then we also have Jesse Lingard, who's been on some real good form toward the back end of the season. A little bit slack of the last 2 games, but that was always to be expected. He was never going to be able to continue that unbelievable scoring run he was on, scoring 9 goals and 3 assists so far this season in a span of about 10 or 11 games. It's absolutely incredible from him, and he's got an expected goal return of 0.53. And West Ham have some very nice fixtures towards the back end of the season, so Jesse Lingard definitely a must-have for only like 6.3 million. He now is definitely a must-have towards the back end of the season. Your rank will definitely be dropping if you do not own him. Then in terms of defenders, now with the defenders, I wouldn't say any of them are like really, really must have, not to the same degree as say the likes of Kane is, the likes of Salah, even the likes of Son. Trent does look quite good though. He has been putting up some good numbers in the past few game weeks, picking up a few double point hauls, getting on the bonus points. He's been doing very, very well for these last three games of the season, especially with the fixtures that Liverpool do have. He looks like a cracking option. We see here that Liverpool have kept 10 clean sheets so far this season, with expected goals against of 1.16. Only Manchester City and Chelsea of late have had better expected goals against Liverpool. Really looking to shore up at the back. They've only been conceding a few last-minute goals, but obviously against Southampton they did manage to keep that clean sheet, and against Manchester United this week will be interesting to see how they do. He's got an expected goal return of 0.33, so basically every 1 in 3 games he is expected to get an attacking return. We all know that when Trent gets an attacking return, he'll get the 3 bonus points as well, and even if he doesn't get an attacking return, very likely to get himself on the bonus points as well. So I think for the back end of the season, Trent looks like a must-have essential player. Then we have Dallas, who I'd actually argue is potentially more must-have than Trent. Leeds coming in with 10 clean sheets so far this season. They have an expected goals against of 1.72, which is actually one of the worst in the league, but they have the same amount of clean sheets, as you can see there, as Liverpool and West Ham, so it's not necessarily all about the expected goals against. He has the worst goal return of 0.18 out of the 3 here, but he actually has scored 8 goals this season, getting 2 assists, so he's basically, I think, the best attacking return defender so far this season. 8 goals is absolutely unbelievable. If you can manage to nab another goal in the last 3 games, even a clean sheet, he's going to send you absolutely flying. That's the thing I will say, is that I think that Trent, probably in terms of like an overall, your mini leagues, most people probably own Trent more than they own Dallas, so in that respect Trent may be more essential, but I still think that Dallas is an absolutely cracking option for these last 3 games. And we finally move on to Aaron Creswell. Obviously West Ham picking up 10 clean sheets so far this season, with expected goals against a 1.48, expected goal return of 0.22. It's very kind of average across the board. 10 clean sheets is pretty solid. Expected goals against is basically mid-table. His expected goal return obviously of late hasn't been too great. He has been injured, and he's basically getting all of his returns from corners. West Ham's fixtures for the last 3 game weeks do look quite nice, so it's definitely something to consider getting Creswell in. Is he a must-have? Well, in terms of ownership, he's the most owned defender in fantasy football. That's really why he's kind of in here, because of that ownership stat. And if he does do very well, you're probably likely to drop in terms of an overall perspective. In terms of your mini leagues though, just have a look around, see what the players in your mini leagues have. If no one else owns him, then he's not necessarily the player to go for in terms of cover, but he could be a very good player to go for in terms of attacking the fixtures, obviously, as they do have very good fixtures. But I would say Dallas for me is the pick over the bunch, just to kind of push you up those leaderboards. So I hope you have enjoyed this quick little look ahead to game week 36 to 38. I've just kind of done this quick video on the kind of template players I think should be there for the last 3 game weeks. I will, as I say, be bringing out a punt video, because I think everyone towards the last 3 games of the season wants to be punting, wants to be absolutely going for it. But this is just kind of like, if you're up there and you're trying to hold on to the rank you've got, you need to be having these players. If you are new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily FPL content, getting so close to that 1K. If you don't mind helping me out, really appreciate it, and hit that like button if you have enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.